come from various places for real though. You know, I was adopted, so I moved around a lot. My mom, my biological mom, she's from North Memphis, Hirsch Village. So was my biological family, a lot of them from North Memphis. I was adopted, so when I was adopted, I moved to Whitehaven area. I went to school in Whitehaven area. I went to Waynes Haven Elementary. I went to Lanier, and then I got in some more trouble. I was always a hustler. At 9, I used to sell crack. I was already in the street. My mom really wasn't equipped enough to raise me. So that's why I got adopted the first time by
Young John.
Park.
Yes, he was a little bad boy, hard-headed.
And she tried the best that she could. At the time, I thought that I was being treated wrongfully, so I ran away from her. And I went through all the juvenile systems, and I mean, a lot. It was a lot.
What was like the genesis of like getting into like selling drugs at that age? Like how did that even like happen at such a young age?
At such a young age, as me selling drugs at 9 years old, I seen everybody doing it. So it was like it was just natural for me to pick up a drug sack and just try to hustle just like all the other dudes that was doing take care of their family. So that's the only thing that I knew. I didn't know that I could work a job or nothing like that. I was 9. Only thing I knew, I could see these dudes walking around here with these nice cars, nice jewelry, nice clothes on, and they able to feed themselves and their family. So I figured that was the right thing to do. So that's what made me start selling drugs.
You found people easily like willing to like put drugs in your hands?
I mean, you know, like my mom and my grandma, they smoked it crack. So all of their company that was around them, I had already knew. So it was easy for me to cut my rocks bigger than everybody else's rocks and start selling them. So it was like, it was just easy for me to get the money. Before you knew it, I was making more money than some of the grown men that was around me. And I was doing things that they was doing, and I was driving the cars, and I was at 9, I remember sitting on a tape deck and having the seat pulled all the way up and driving around. I'm driving around saying it's my mama car. I bought the car myself though, you know what I'm saying? I bought the car, put it in my mama's name. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was already grown then at 9 years old. So that's why when I got adopted and stuff like that, it was like I was already grown. Like I had shift until somebody trying to tell me what's right to do, and I had already been doing this thing right here. So as far as like going to school and stuff like that, I wasn't doing that. I was hustling. So you want me to go to school all day and come back home, do my homework, and I wasn't used to that. I was used to just being a adult at 9 years old. That's what I was used to. So when I got adopted, I didn't know how to accept that. I didn't know how to take that because I felt like I was already grown. So I ran away several times and continued to go back out on the streets, and they'll come back and get me and put me through juvenile, and I go through juvenile and still didn't learn my lesson because I was a kid. And it was just to the point where they was like, you know what, we wash our hands. Sent me somewhere else to another family friend that stayed in the Claiborne home, and I think that was the worstest time to do that because I was starting to change, I was starting to shift, but when I went to the Claiborne home, I was right back in the project. I'm in the projects now. So I'm just really just adapting all of that back. I'm getting all of it back. So I just went on and started back doing what I was doing. Started back hustling, breaking in houses, stealing cars, and that was just a normal thing for me to do. And it wasn't even just about hustling either. It was more about protecting myself because it was just me. It was just me, so I had to protect myself. I had to have the weapons on me. I had to, you know, that I became a gang member, and you know, I started running with the gang members, and eventually got put down in the gang member. One of the first ones in our projects they got put down. So it really took like a different type of toll on me than most people will even understand. Like all of the stuff that I had to endure being, you know, like one of the only Crips inside of a GD neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to go through a lot. I had to go through a lot to become who I am now, or I would have been ended up dead. So I had to protect myself. I had to, you know, fight a lot, a lot of shootouts and stuff like that, just to protect my life and protect the ones that was around me. That what made me become more aware of doing my thinking. My thinking became more. I wasn't mature. I wasn't immature no more. My thinking became more mature. I was a more mature thinker because I had to think for everybody that was around me. And then I started realizing, hey, this ain't what I need to be doing, but I'm already too knee deep in it to turn away. It was a lot of people that wasn't gonna take no for an answer because we already had I didn't have family. So we was already, and it was a lot of us the same way. A lot of us didn't have family. So we had to band together to have that familyhood. You know, we was like real family together, but we was kids that was homeless in the street, running around doing things that we ain't have no business doing, but we ain't have no other options. Those are our only options. So,
I mean that. Yeah. I mean that. Just the fact that you're experiencing all these things when you're a kid. You know, you just in some ways do you feel like you know your childhood you never really got to have like a childhood.
I really don't. I really don't. I didn't get a chance to experience nothing as far as like being a child until I went to Port Leaf. I went to Port Leaf after constantly running away, getting in trouble doing this. I eventually got sent to Port Leaf, and that was the first time I actually, you know, had the time to be a child. They took us to Six Flags and took us to camping trips and stuff like that. That was the first time. But I eventually, you know, ran across a couple of my friends when I was doing this with Port Leaf, and I ended up leaving with them. And I wasn't never able to go back. I wish I would have had stayed, but I had seen a lot of my close friends. So, you know, people that was homeless, that was, you know, I met them at a gas station. I was like, what's up? They were like, man, let's go. And I just left with them, you know what I'm saying? I left with them and really eloped it.
Were you a teenager at the time?
Yeah, I was a teenager at the time, and they hadn't seen me in forever. And I hadn't seen them, and the old feelings had came back. And I was like, you know what? I'm leaving with my partners, you know what I'm saying? And it was one of the worst decisions I made in my life, because I think that I was starting to get it. They were starting to help me. They knew the trauma that I had been through. They knew all the neglect that I had been through. And they made sure they loved up on me, but I still was missing something.
But it's fair to say that was a pretty formative decision then. So talk to me about, did that kind of get you back into gang life? And talk to me about what kind of came of that.
But when I ran off with my friends, it was like that void that was taken away from me. It was given back. And it was just me making adolescent and, you know, making adolescent decisions. So at the time, I thought it was the best decision. But all my friends, they had their moms or either staying with their grandmom or they had somebody. I didn't have nobody. I had to fend for myself almost. So, you know, I ran off with them guys and got into doing crime, little petty crimes like stealing cars and, you know, breaking in houses, and even started dipping and dabbing into taking the money that I was stealing stuff with and invest in drugs and start selling drugs. So I started making a good living and selling drugs, and ended up getting in trouble. I had started doing real good, and I had moved to a certain part of the city with my friends and stuff like that, and man, just started doing all type of stuff, just stuff outside of what I was doing. It had elevated from me doing little petty crimes to me doing even more serious crimes. So, you know, my friends and stuff, they was enticing and influencing me. They was like, you the best at what you doing. We can get paid for this. So I started doing it and actually getting away with everything that I was doing. Once I started doing the even more worse crimes, that's when I started feeling like death was on me. Like, I thought it was death, but the whole time it was God sheltering me. And I ended up, the rent lady son had his house broken into. And somebody broke into his house and stole his weapons out of his house. Of course, I had a reputation of doing these type of things, so I was one of the first people that he seen, so he approached me first, and when he approached me, me and him got the fight.
I feel like one day though you will be able to go back and have conversations with them about like what you're doing and the way you've gone, and like, do you think, I mean, because you've been through it, you know, so there's no one more powerful to deliver that message than you in some ways, right? Do you think you'll ever be able to get to that point with them?
It will eventually. I just want to make sure that I'm secure first. I want to make sure that I can be able to be like, hey, I got an avenue for you. Hey, I can help you. Look, I got this business over here. Y'all can come over here and work for me. Y'all don't have to be out here selling drugs and gang banging. I got something for y'all to do. Because that's basically what it is. Don't have nothing else better to do but the gang bang and waste your life and waste, you know, become older. And I also want to let them know, let me be an example of what to do and an example of what not to do. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's both sides with me, because I wasn't always who I am now. I was always a hard-headed, you know, I always was the one who was the first one to, you know, pop it off. Always. So now that I'm doing what I'm doing, it makes a lot of people look at me and be like, if he doing it, I know I can do it. But I just want to be able to help them, you know, guide them along. I can't just walk up to them and be like, y'all need to stop doing what y'all doing, and then don't have no avenue for them to take. I'm trying to make sure that I be able to have some type of solidity to what I'm saying. Because you can't just tell nobody to do something and have nothing to offer. So I want to make sure I got something to offer.
So talk to me a little bit about kind of when you first, because you said you were in juvenile hall, you went to juvie kind of growing up, but talk to me about when you know kind of had that realization of things need to change, and talk to me about what preceded that and like getting what brought you to prison that time, and kind of like that realization of like, I don't want to be like this forever.
Well, I was in prison. I was in the federal prison. I think I was in Canaan, Pennsylvania, during the COVID-19 era.
This woman apparently being taken against her will.
We don't know just how deadly this is.
The U.S. Embassy in Beijing confirms the first American death.
A SARS-like virus which has infected hundreds.
Cases will rise in the days ahead.
The real number may be even higher.
The COVID vaccine distribution mess.
It's strongly recommending that all children ages 6 to 23 months.
And during COVID-19, if they lock the world down, out here in the world living their life, you know, trying to feed their family, they locked the whole world down. What do you think they did to people that was in prison? Like, we had it the worst. But also, you know, like, I was locked down a lot, but I had time to reflect. It was like, will I put myself back through this again? I had enough time to reflect on myself. And I did a lot of getting closer to God. So, you know, when I got out here, I was like, you know what? I'm a shift from all the negative thoughts that I used to have, I'm gonna go do this and that and the other, to all of the, I was like, I'm gonna shift that negative energy towards something positive. And I'm gonna continue to work. I'm gonna do what I need to do. And people that know me were like, man, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, we know you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna get back out there, you're gonna get the bag, and you're gonna start back hustling. But that ain't in my head, wasn't what I was feeling like. I had knew that, hey man, I'm finna get out here and change everything up. Because I need to start appreciating my freedom. I got a 22, at the time she was 20. I got a 20-year-old daughter out here, you know, like I never seen, you know what I'm saying? Like, and when she was a baby, like I'm make sure that I make it up to her. You know, I'm gonna make sure that I be able to support her and be on her side. So all of that was reflecting. Me just looking at the ceiling, you know, for hours just in my mind thinking, preparing myself, getting all of my actions in order, writing down my goals. What goals do I want to do in 1 year, my 2-year goal, all the way up to my 10-year goals. I wrote them down.
Do you remember like kind of like a light bulb moment where you were like, or was it kind of a gradual kind of like realizing over time like I need to change?
Yeah.
Like was it kind of a combination of both?
Nah, it was a moment where we couldn't take showers nothing but like once every other day. Like we take showers and I had been working out real hard, and I kind of sat in my chair, and cause they give you little chairs, I sat in my chair and I went to sleep. And when I woke up, my celly had been in the shower and I hadn't. I was like, man, why you didn't, wake me up? He was like, man, hey man, you gotta be concerned about yourself. At that moment right there, when I finally realized that I had matured, because usually he would have been beat up. Anybody who know me know that he would have been beat up. I would have went on and beat him up. But when he said, man, you need to be worried about yourself, there was a light bulb moment for me. I was like, you know what? You right. I do need to be worried about myself. I'm the one who wake up early in the morning and get your breakfast bags for you. I'm the one who make sure you get your trays and make sure all your food on it, but you couldn't make sure I get a shower. So at that moment right there, I know it might seem minute, it might seem small, but that moment right there was a moment that I had knew that, hey, I need to focus on myself more. So that's one of the reasons why I started reflecting. Like, cause he was right. What he said made a lot of sense. Like, you need to focus on yourself. Like, why are you worried about everybody else? Cause I ain't gonna lie, I'm loyal sometimes to a fault.
Like,
so I started letting him get his own trades.
And
when he missed, I tell him the same thing. Hey, you need to start focusing on yourself.
It's not no.
So right now, me and this guy, we call each other all the time on the phone. And he was like, man, bro, I ain't gonna lie, when you did that to me, bro, it woke me up. I was like, you woke me up.
I ain't gotta tell you because you already doing it. But I'm gonna tell you anyway. Just keep doing what you're doing, bro. I'm proud of you, bro.
Man, likewise, man. No, we ain't trying to go back there. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to deal with that type of stuff no more. Like, we sitting in our cell looking out our window watching the guy die from being stabbed over a payphone. Like, I don't want to see this no more. I don't want to have to go through this no more.
Was that like pretty common, like the level of violence in federal prison?
There was a common thing, like race riots and stuff like that. That's something that goes on. Like, people think that it just be some TV stuff. This ain't nothing to do with TV. This real life. These people having to live with this stuff for real. Like, you got people in here that's drug addicts for real. Like, you got people in here that, like, it could be something small. It can be something small and people lose their life over. Something like a bag of chips. Something like a pack of ramen noodles. Like, I done seen people lose their life over these type of things. A ramen noodle, one noodle, and somebody killed them over a noodle. I seen the guy who had 30 days left in prison, and he was a Crip. The Crips had a coalition with a Mexican gang called the Norteños. The guy had 30 days left. He didn't have no money on his book to, buy commissary and stuff like that, because he was trying to save up for when he leave and come home. And they had gave him permission to go in the bag and get him some things to eat whenever he need to. But a couple weeks prior, a DC dude, a dude from Washington, DC, they one of the biggest cars. They split it up in cars. Either you from DC or you from Memphis or you from this place or that. And these the people that you interact with. The DC car is the largest car in federal prison. So, they tend to sometimes do things that they ain't, like they'll never do if they was just a small group of people. So by them being, like the largest people on the compound, because, Washington, D.C. don't have state prisons. all of their inmates come to the Fed. So they, prior to this, a guy from DC stole all of the Mexicans' commissary, like stole everything out their cell. All their stamps, all their food, hygiene, and went selling it. So they didn't know who did it. So they was like, anybody else get caught in my cell, you know what I'm saying, I'ma kill him. They gave him permission before this incident happened. So this guy, he goes to chow. They had some nasty food in chow. So he didn't want it. He leave, he go back to the unit. He goes in the Mexican cell and get a 6-pack of cookies. The little bitty cookies like this right here, a 6-pack of cookies. And got them, went to the table, ate them. At this time, I'm looking at the Mexicans. The Mexicans, they get up, you know, they not talking or nothing. They already told you don't go up in these cells. So the guy eating the cookies, they go to the Crips. They let the Crips know. I'm looking at everything I know because I've been in prison my whole life. I know the movements. They go to the Crips, they let the Crips know. I see the Crips get confirmation, yeah, he eating the cookies. He turn back around, tell the Mexican, just like that. The Mexicans go down there. At first they tried to take him in their cell so they can get away with the murder. But the little guy was like, he wasn't going for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could tell, because he been in prison too. He could tell it was something not right. So the Crips called him up to his cell, the cell that he was in. And they put some K2. K2 is like a paper drug that's common in prison. And they put a lot inside of like a makeshift pipe. And the guy didn't check it. He hit it, went out, like he couldn't even defend himself. The Mexicans went in the cell. They stabbed him over 80 times. They snatched his eyeballs out. They cut both of his Achilles. They stabbed him under his arms and cut both his wrists and cleaned the blood up and left him under the bunk for some days. So the kid didn't have number 30 days left. He died 30 days before he went home. So that's the type of people that you're around when you're in the federal prison. I've been in high intensity environments where you have to walk around with a knife just like out here you have to have a gun. But out here, you can separate yourself. You don't have, in prison, you don't have that option. You have to be around these people until somebody say, hey, you can go over here or you can go over there. So I have to be around these crooks. I have to be around real murderers, real rapists, real thieves, like people who idolize themselves as this.
So you're kind of like constantly in a state of like high pressure, stress. It must be just incredibly stressful to kind of have to be like watching your back at all times in a lot of ways, right? And that must just like add up over time. Is that kind of like how you felt there?
That's how I felt all the time. All the time I felt like it could be something that somebody else do, and because they know that I'm one of the ones that's more equipped at defending myself, they'll come and get me first. They won't even get the person who did nothing. They'll come and get me first. So me, I'm having to focus on everybody that's around me, just like when I was on the street and I was one of the top gang members. I was in the Memphis car. So I had to focus on everybody that was from Memphis. What are they doing? Are they having problems with people? Have they stole from anyone? Have they got drugs from anyone I ain't pay? I have to focus on this stuff because people will do something to me first. Like, I'm the first one they coming to get. They coming to get me because they know if we do something to him, he'll be the one that stop us from killing him. He'll be the one who know what he doing with knives or know what he doing as far as hand-to-hand combat. Like, he know what he doing, so we got to go ahead and get him out the way first. And that's the same way it was with race riots too. With race riots, I would have like 2 people come at me and try to get me first. So, you know, like, it was a high intensity place that I had to be in. So the COVID-19, when I had that little time to break myself down during the COVID-19, I didn't have to deal with the intensity. I just had one other person that I was dealing with 24/7. So there was a time, the first time in my whole stint of 18 years, ever being able to be relaxed. Like I'm in here with somebody that I'm comfortable with. First time I ever had enough time to sit down and reflect on myself. The first time I had enough time to study for my GED. Cause I was always looking over my shoulder, always focused on is somebody gonna stab and try to kill me over something that I didn't even know I did. Like I seen people get killed for skipping the line in the chow hall. I seen people who wasn't aware of what they was doing and sat at a table that wasn't their table and they got killed over it. Like like it's crazy that the stuff that you have to deal with in federal prison.
How did you like rise the ranks to become that kind of like person? Was it just like your natural leadership ability?
That's what it was. I'm a natural leader. I'm always a natural leader. And I really do and honestly do believe that if most people listen to me, if they listen to me, I guide them in the right direction. I'm the type of person that I can give you the 100 best advice, and sometimes I can't even follow my own advice. But if you listen to me, I'm gonna give you the best advice I can give you. But me taking my own advice, sometimes I reflect away from it. But if I give you advice, you best to believe that I'm gonna give you the best advice that I can give you. That's what type of person I always been. I always been a natural born leader. I always been able to lead people.
Yeah, so that's why you kind of gravitated. People just kind of like were like, this guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to fight. He knows how to defend himself. He knows how to. He has a strong presence. Like we're gonna follow this guy.
Yeah, that's what it always been like that. It always been like.
It must have been a heavy burden to carry.
Yeah, it is, especially when you dealing with grown men, like men who already got their mind made up of what they gonna do. Now you gotta be the person that convince them otherwise, or you gotta be the person that guide them another direction. So that's a real hard thing to do. It's hard. Most people, most people can't do it. You can't lead grown men, and some men being 10, 20 years older than you, and you still in leadership position. So that ain't no easy task. Some of them be stubborn. Sometimes you'll have to, be physical with them in order for them to get they stuff together, because one slip up from you is everybody's life in jeopardy. Like everybody can end up being killed, or we can end up killing somebody and then we'll be here for the rest of our lives. So I had to think and make sure I maneuver for everybody.
Wow. And so real briefly, guy, you mentioned like race riots and stuff like that. How do those even like come about, like starting? Like what's like usually the like...
Well, sometimes it be the smallest stuff. It be the smallest stuff. But for the most part, it be sports. It be sports. It probably be on a basketball court, or it might be a baseball game, a softball game between the blacks and the Hispanics, or the blacks and the whites, or the Hispanics and the whites. And, like it be a race wire that go off, and, whoever involved, that's what it's gonna clash. It's gonna clash. It's most definitely gonna clash, because you got all these different people with their own different ideologies. So it's geographical. So they got their beliefs that you shouldn't do this. So if you do it, then they feel like, hey, I'm being disrespected. But then you don't even feel like it's disrespect, because where you from, it's not disrespect. So I done seen Hispanics call a black guy a nigga. And they feel like that they're, like our type of, and they started a race riot, and it was like over 1,000 people stabbing each other. And we getting shot at by exploding grenades over our head, and getting shot live rounds in the ground. And like the guards are shooting, it'd be towers. The guards shooting like explosive devices over our head. When they shoot them so many times. After they shoot them and they run out of them, they get live rounds, they shoot those, and they got pellets, or they'll shoot the pellets into the crowd. After they run out of all of that, they shoot live round one time into the ground, and now they got the right to, shoot and kill you. So just think about you got to worry about somebody stabbing you in your neck, or you got to worry about the guard finally getting this aim on you out of everybody else. And you the one who he taking down because you got a knife in your hand trying to protect yourself.
In those moments, are you just like survival mode?
I'm in survival mode.
And you're just like trying to like survive?
Nah, I mean, I'm thinking as well because like I said, I did 18 years in prison, so I done been through this stuff a lot. So I know how to section myself and put myself in a position where I ain't being focused on because I know I'm being one of the ones that being focused on. So I have to put myself in a position even when I know it's about to happen because I know. And before it even happened, I already know it's finna happen. Like everybody already done told me this how we doing it, this how it's gonna go, this how it's gonna happen. And not like I always been the leader. I always been the person who, I've been the person who had to take leaders' word too. Like I had to be a follower too in order to be a great leader. But I was a great follower. So I had leaders that after they leave me leadership position because they know that I have the capabilities to be a leader. So, like I had people that be like, hey, your number up. Like we pulled your number out the bag. And they'll walk around and what number you want? Give me 8. What number you want? 2. Give me 1. And they'll reach in the bag, and if they pull your number up, it's your number. Now, either you could do what we asking you to do, or what we telling you to do, or we gonna get you after we get them. So this the type of environment that I had to grow up in.
So when you say they pull out basically they're saying you gotta go like attack this person
Yep.
because we called you're like
Yep.
you're a soldier. You gotta
Yep.
go fight in the war. Now.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
So it's not even something that you have anything.
Nothing to do with. Had nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. I ain't do nothing. I wasn't around. Only thing I do is I ask for what happened. Like you have to tell me what happened in order for me to be able to go here and do this. And if it don't make sense to me, then I've been in prison long enough where I could be like, nah, I ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I ain't doing it, man. I'm not dealing with it, man. Go, hey, deal with somebody else or get somebody else. Then you have guys who been on these compounds 15, 20 years, ain't never been in no trouble, but you want to try to get somebody else in trouble. So, I always been a person that you could tell me to do it, but after I do it, I'm going to come back and I'm going to come back for you too. So that would start changing people from putting my name in the bag and start putting me in leadership position because I'm not taking nothing from nobody. I'm not doing nothing to nobody that didn't do nothing to me. I'm not doing it. But I did start off that way because I had to learn the system. So it started off like I had to be a follower. I had to be a soldier first. And then once I did enough, I was like, it's enough, man, I'm done. I never been this type of person anyway. I always been a leader. So once I put my foot down, people even stop even messing with me. Like I do my workout, people don't even bother me. I go do my studying, people won't even bother me. I read my books, people don't even mess with me. Cause I always used to have to sit with my back against the wall. And you can't sit in your cell or you can't go to sleep. You cannot be asleep if the door's open. If the door's open and you sleep, somebody gonna come in there and do something to you that's a part of your team. Cause you're not supposed to be asleep. You gotta have your tennis shoes on tied up at all times. Cause you never know what's gonna happen. So this the intensity that I had to deal with. But during COVID-19, I had enough time to, I had enough time to breathe. Even though,
Was the cell locked then?
yeah, the cell's locked.
So you don't have to worry about.
Nobody, but I got one person in here that I can trust, I can go to sleep around. So I'm doing all my reading, studying for my GED. I did 18 years now. At all that time I went to school, I always failed for GED. But during COVID-19, I studied real hard. I broke down and learned the formulas to math. I learned everything. Then I was like, oh, this easy. As soon as they gave me the opportunity to take the GED test, I passed it. I was like, dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, the only thing I had to do was learn the formulas to math, because everything else I had already knew. Social studies, science. I read a lot, so all this stuff I knew. Math was my problem. COVID-19, now I'm not idolizing it, because I didn't like being locked down in prison, and I seen the trauma that it put on a lot of people. I just utilized it to better myself. And COVID-19, to a lot of people, just realized how many people came up with their careers because of COVID-19, sitting at home, not being able to leave, and figuring out something to do. A lot of people had to do this. Man, hey, I need to get my stuff together. This is what I'm gonna do while I'm sitting here. I'm gonna figure this out and do this. And it helped a lot of people's lives. And I'm one of the ones that it helped. They closed this shit, when they shut us down, it helped me out a lot. It helped me out a lot because I was able to, you know, reflect on myself. I was able to study. And the first time I took my GED test after COVID-19, I passed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I passed it with flying colors. Boom, next thing you know, they brought it to me, hey, you passed your GED. I was so happy. And that was like, probably like maybe 9 months before I got out of prison.
Oh, so you're about to get out and then you pass your GED.
Yeah.
But then you also talk about other things you kind of learned, other crafts you kind of learned. You developed on, you focused on writing, you focused on music, you focused on...
Anybody who ever been in prison, any kind of prison, all over the world, I know that, you know, like, it'd be great musicians in prison. And we'll get on the door and we'll beat on the door with a pencil or a pen in our hand and, you know, vocalize instrumentals to get everybody in the mood, and then we'll start doing our songs. And most of the time it'd be like 15, maybe 20 people doing it. And all of us, we'll just go around in a circle and do our songs, and it calms us. It keeps the whole place, you know, calm down. Because without us doing that, you got people kicking the door, people in the cell fighting, people doing this, people doing, you know, like, we in the hole, we around number troublemakers. So one day, I was finna write a song. And I just wrote on a piece of paper a message in the can, because I was trying to do like a R&B type of hip hop type of vibe, because I had transitioned from just writing just strictly just hip hop drill music to like, I want to do a little hip hop, you know, like R&B, like singing with it, you know what I'm saying, like female type of, you know, like you would go with a female type stuff. So yeah, good vibe type of music. So I was focusing on that. And instead of me writing message in a bottle, I wrote a message in a can. So, you know, I wanted to try to switch it around. I was like, a message in a bottle, now I'm gonna say a message in a can. You know, I started writing and I was like, nah, this ain't good. And then I just started writing and it came out. It was a sunny afternoon in a tropical cocoon where a kid was in the alley behind the building where his daddy was doing. And he ran across the can and kicked it as hard as he can. And it came out like that. That's how it came out. And before you know it, I had wrote a whole passage about this. And I got on the door one day and I was like, hey man, I got something. And you know, people love my music. So when I say, like, I don't do it as much, but I do it. So when people hear me say I'm finna do it, they gonna, everybody be quiet, shut up. Everybody be quiet. So they start being quiet and I was like, man, I got something for y'all to hear. You know what I'm saying? And I started doing it. And before you know it, nobody was saying nothing. And then before you know it, everybody was dead quiet. And I kept on going. And then when I wasn't finished with it yet, so when I stopped where I stopped at, everybody went berserk. They was like, man, you need to finish that, man. Ooh, I need to hear the rest of that. And that what made me realize, hey man, even adults like this. Like, they like that I put poetry with it. And it's something that you can, you can relate to. And even kids can listen to this. Because it's really like a no bullying book that I'm writing. And no shaming. And the kid that I'm writing about is an autistic kid. So he see things that talks back to him. He see cans, he see owls, he see birds, he see bugs, he see mice. He see things that speak to him, and the things is giving him advice as he go along in life. So That's the name of the book. It's called A Message in a Can.
Could you just do a little bit of it?
Yeah, I do a little bit of it. It was a sunny afternoon in a tropical cocoon where a kid was in the alley behind the building where his daddy was doing. And he ran across the can and kicked it as hard as he can. Tried to send it as far as he could see, but the can never landed. But yet instead, the can grew lips and said, "Hey man, you have the nerves to kick a can. What if a can could kick you back? Would you kick a can then?" At first the kid was scared, even to the point he was frightened. But to see a can could talk was even more enlightening. The kid said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Can, I didn't mean to make you mad. My dad was killed in this building, you know. So every time I come to this place, it just really makes me sad." The can said, "Tell me about it, kid. I've been stuck between a Twix and a hard place for months and finally get some wind. Blow me out in the open to be kicked by a kid." The kid said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Can, I didn't mean to make you mad." Even though the can didn't have heart, he found sympathy within. "Listen, kid, I have a friend. His name's Stan. He sleeps in a van. He should hit your hand if you tell him he was sent by a can. Sure, for all the problems I caused you, Mr. Can, I'll go meet Stan that sleeps in a van." So before the kid could run off, the can said, "Hey, kid, give an old can a gig. Let me get a lift and throw me in the bin." So the kid ran and grabbed the can as fast as he can and threw it over his shoulder because he was going to meet Stan that sleeps in the van for a friend. The kid made it to 19th and Grand barely, to find out that 19th and Grand was an abandoned alley. "Hello? Is anyone there? Who goes there?" The kid could not have seen no one who could have spoke. Made him get the jitters as if it was a ghost. But he wiped his eyes and focused close, and through the cup was a talking roach. So I ended up getting out, going to the halfway house. I was messing with a girl at first who didn't mean me no good. You know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't mean me no good. And I left her like, this the wrong decision. I'm not making this decision. Then I met my girl, Ebony Bird. I met Ebony. And I knew it was right because right away she was like, "I'm letting you know now, I'm not gonna be riding with you in no prison. I'm not gonna be coming to visit you in prison. I'm not finna be doing this. You gonna get out here and do the right thing, or me and you not gonna talk." So I was like, yeah, this in my head, because I'm like, I never had no female to be like, "You ain't gonna do this, you ain't gonna do this." Always me telling them what they gonna do, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, this a woman. So I was like, this who I'ma take, this who I'ma be with. And man, it was the best decision ever, man. It was the best decision ever because I had nowhere to go after I left the halfway house. Nowhere. Come to find out, Ebony Bird mama is Faye Bird. And Faye Bird been knowing me since I was 9 years old. And she used to be one of the women who used to let me come and take showers and baths in her house and feed me.
I can remember you just running to me. I'm always buying you stuff, but other stuff in between what we used to do, some of the stuff you probably could remember, but I can't remember. But
I fell in love with you. I mean, you always been always helpful to me. You always showed me love. So I always felt in love with you, and I always felt love when I was around you.
Of course.
Yeah. You know, so I'm like, whoa, that's my baby. You know what I'm saying? I love her. I love her to death. I got out of prison. They was like, you coming here. You coming here. You gonna be here. You ain't got nowhere to go. You do now. You know what I'm saying? So I went there, and it was the best decision I ever made. I was there. I didn't have to worry about food. I didn't have to worry about where I was gonna lay my head at, and it gave me enough time to figure stuff out here. So as I'm figuring things out, I end up getting these jobs and getting this job and then meeting these people. It's just so much right now, I can't even take all the jobs in now because I got so much going on right now. So, you know, like Ebony and Faye Bird, they have been a blessing to me. Because now I got me a big 3-bedroom house. You know, I got a car I can drive. I got 2 more cars in my 2-car garage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Life great right now. It would never been possible if I would just been kicked out on the street. I would have went right back to the street stuff, hustling, trying to make the fast money. They gave me enough time to sit back and figure out what I wanted to do. So they're a blessing to me. I was already having a hard time trying to get back and forth to work. And when Ebony came into my life, I didn't have to worry about that no more. What I had to worry about was where will I be staying at, where I'm gonna be sleeping at, where I'm gonna be living. I was like, you know what, don't even worry about it, I'm gonna figure it out. And it's just God working on me. God, like, you know, I can talk to him. I got you, don't worry about it. And the blessings just fell, just keep falling. So that's why people wanna help me. Miss Portia with the trap program. If it weren't for Miss Portia, you know, like shaking me back into shape, because I was distracted a little bit. But I went to her program and she showed me all the success from people that was getting out of prison and went through the trap program. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have my home that I stay in, because I was really trying to do everything on my own until I was like, why I ain't called Miss Portia from the trap program yet? You know, like this, I graduated from her program, but still she helped us afterwards, after graduation. So let me call Miss Portia and let her know that I need a home. And I was trying to get a home on my own, but they wouldn't let me in because of my background. Miss Portia had private owners that accepted me. I'm talking about, I didn't even have to walk inside the house. When I stood in front of the house, I said, I want it. They said, you got the money now? I said, yes. How you want it, on a check or cash? They were like, a check. I wrote the check right there. Boom, the next week, 2 weeks, I was in my home.
Yeah, did you find, like, as you were kind of attempting the process of reintegrating back in society, there were roadblocks?
There was.
And there were hurdles you had to get over? What were some of those?
Driving. Like, I can't get nothing done if I can't drive. And me being in the halfway house, they real strict. It's like they don't understand the magnitude of people being able to leave for a small amount of time to having enough time to be able to, you know, do some things. Because they cutting your time down and not giving you enough time to get your stuff together. And me, I had stayed out because I supposed to been waiting on the interview. And the guy who's supposed to been interviewing me ended up not showing up. Now, my ride done drove off and left me, and I don't even have a bus fare. So now I'm walking. And they calling my phone like, where you at? And I'm like, man, I went to an interview, but the guy, we don't care. You need to be back here at this much time. I'm like, I'm walking. Like, can y'all send somebody to come and get me? No, you need to figure it out. And when I made it back to the halfway house, they put me on building restriction. So I couldn't even leave out and go do no interviews or nothing for a long period of time. As soon as I left out of the halfway house, success. Nothing but success. Because I was able to move around, I was able to have enough time to be able to figure stuff out. I was downtown Memphis. I'm from the Claiborne home. I grew up in the Claiborne home, so I was like, I'm gonna go downtown. I know there's plenty bars and grills down here. There's plenty condos and businesses and buildings that need to be clean. I waited a week. After that week was up, I hit the ground running. I walked downtown. I took a bus downtown. Boom, I started walking. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to my favorite spot. I'm gonna go to the Bluff Park and just chill for a minute, just enjoy freedom. So I went and sat down for a minute, and someone was like, man, if you don't get up, what are you wasting time for? And I got up, and I had my clothes on, I had a pen with me, and I just got to walking up and down the street, walking to every company, filling out applications, telling them I'm a custodial cleaner, I love to clean, that's all I wanna do. I went to every company and filled out an application on one side of the street, and then when I made it to the last place, I came back and went down the other side of the street, all the way to the other end again, to make sure that I got every place that would accept the application from me. And I was walking back down the street, and I seen the guy named Mark Aiken standing outside on his phone.
It's unbelievable to me that we don't do more for people being reintroduced into society. I can't believe that we're going to lock somebody up for 16 years, and I'm not saying sometimes they don't deserve it, but then we let them out, and not teaching them any skills, not giving them any job opportunities. It's kind of a shame. So, being downtown, frequently we get knocks on the door. Are you looking for work? Are you hiring? I just want to make some money and let me take out the trash. I used to do that a lot. Sometimes that kind of backfires a little bit because they disappear and they show back up drunk again, and it kind of turns into a thing. So I had quit kind of hiring people off the street. One day, I was standing about right here, about right where I am now.
Just a coincidence, because he said he usually never do that.
And I see a guy walking past Walgreens, and you stay down here long enough, you start to recognize him. This guy's clearly just gotten out of prison, and he's walking down the street.
Like, he always go in his office and use the phone, but he had a couple people in the gym making a lot of noise that was working out, so he had to step out.
And I can tell he asked the manager if they're hiring, she says no, and he keeps walking. About 30 minutes later, I'm back out here, and I see the guy coming again.
And it was a day just like this right here. So I walk past, and I'm thinking they doing construction work in there. So I'm like, let me ask him, can I earn a few dollars to, throw some stuff in the trash can or, clean up or something like that? So I asked him, hey man, if y'all need some help in there?
And I'm thinking, he's gonna ask me for a job. And he walks up, and sure enough, he says, you hiring? And I say, no man, sorry, can't help you.
And he was on the phone, so he was like, nah man, we don't need no help, because I just disturbed his phone call. So I made sure I told him again, like, hey man, look, I'm gonna be walking all down this street, but he looking at me like, why is you calling and talking to me? You see me on the phone. But I'm adamant though. I'm like, if you ever need some help, I'm gonna be walking up and down this street all day filling out applications, man. I'll be willing and able to help you for a few dollars, man.
And he keeps on walking, and then he gets down to about right there, about 20 or 30 yards down. And I don't know why, but I turned around and I said, hey man.
He put the phone, he told them to hold on 1 second. And he was like, you know what, I do need some help, man.
I got something you can do. Come on in,
in,
we'll clean the back. I don't remember what it was, something. I think he helped me move a bunch of wood.
And he got on the phone, he told them, hey, I can't talk to y'all right now. I got this guy that's finna get ready to do some work for me. I need to talk to him and tell him what to do. I'll call y'all back. And from that point on, right there, that's how all of my jobs came, through Mark.
Yeah, I gave him some cash or something. He did a great job. I told him, I said, all right, look, come back tomorrow, but here's the deal. Don't show up drunk. You respect me, I will respect you, and don't hit on the girls. Those are the 3 basic rules we got to adhere to. And he immediately, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. And he came back the next day and did an amazing job. He and I became friends. We would have long talks, we'd sit and I'd listen to him share stories about his experience. He'd listen to me share about mine. He truly became a good friend, man. I really have an enormous amount of respect for him. Guy worked his ass off. I've never seen anybody work so hard.
He got me my first job as far as filling out an application, a place that I missed. He was like, man, I got some, because I was constantly coming in every day. I was figuring out stuff to do every day. And he had to pay me cash every day. Every day he had to pay me cash, 60, 50, sometimes 40. So he was like, hey man, listen, man, I'm gonna have to find you a job, man, because you breaking me right now. You get too much money from me, man. I'm gonna have to find you a job. He like, I'm gonna find you a job, man, but you not coming in here and cleaning up today. So he called some people, he did a lot of calling around, and he got some people to hire me. And when they hire me, everybody who see how I work, I don't just work the same one day. I work every day I come in, I have the same effort. I come in with the same effort, I come in with the same attitude every day. So people start seeing this, and they start bringing me in.
So, but you're also, like as we talked about, you're also a very talented author, and so that's something else that you're working on. And so talk to me about, you're kind of in the process of publishing a children's book.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about how that kind of came about.
A lady named Terry Hennett, she's the executive director of Church of God in Christ. And her nephew was a close friend of mine. And I spoke to, he seen me writing the book, and I spoke it to him. And then he was like, I got a guy that's writing a Christian, like children type of book that you probably need to see and listen to. It was during the hurricane, when the tornado was finna get ready to come. So it's storming. I'm talking like storming. And I'm sitting inside of the place where they called me in to work. I'm like, wow, we at work. You know, like it's storming outside. Nobody's coming out. Everybody's at home. Why is the doors open? Like, why would you ask me to drive here? But I'm not knowing it's God. It's God. It wasn't him. It was God that asked me to come through him. So I'm sitting at the bar. There's nobody in the bar. I'm sitting here, I'm pouting, I'm complaining. I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm here. I could be at home when my family is storming. They got flood warnings everywhere. Man, why do he got me at work? Nobody in here, 0 people in here. And then all of a sudden the door open. So now I gotta get up. I'm like, man, I know this lady right here crazy. She just came out here in the storm. I'm like, shh. Hey, ma'am, how you doing? You know, my normal routine, ma'am, how you doing, ma'am? She, I'm looking for Johnny. I'm like, you looking for who? She was like, Johnny, and I looked back at my co-worker, and he looked at me like, I'm like, ma'am, I'm Johnny, ma'am. Can I help you? She was like, yes, my name is they call her TT. My name is TT. I heard about your children's book. Do you mind reiterating it to me? I'm already ready to go home. But I'm like, you know, the way that I think now, I'm like, yes, ma'am.
Well, it's that maturity, right?
Yes, sir.
That you talked about.
Yes, sir.
During that kind of enlightenment, it was that kind of like.
I'm like, okay, yes, ma'am. Even though I don't feel like playing right now. But I got you, though. So I said to her, I started off. And this is a executive director. And I got her like, oh my God. So she was like, okay. I'm like, she like, okay, well, I said to her, said the book to her and stuff like that. She was like, okay, nice that you did that for me. Thank you for doing that for me. And I'm just sitting here like, is that all? Is that it? I'm like, yes, ma'am. She was like, well, what you gonna be doing for the rest of the day? I said, hopefully I can go home because I ain't making no money here. Like, nobody's in here. So she was like, okay, well, I'm about to go. She leave. It's storming outside. I'm like, she finna just, like, you can at least wait till the rain die down some. You know what I'm saying? She leave. Boom. It's still storming. I get a phone call from Corday to come outside. But I heard her say, nah, he not coming out, I'm coming in. She came in with a little fancy little tissue box. It was a fancy box. I still got the box at home. And it had like little colors on it and stuff like that. And she was like, don't open it until I leave. She gave me the box. She left right back out in the storm to go home. So I'm sitting at the bar. I'm like, might be like some, you know, fancy little stuff in here or whatever. I just threw it up on the thing. I'm waiting on my boss man to tell me hey, I can leave because ain't nobody coming in. Some just said, open the box. I opened the box up. It was a card and a $100 bill in it. So I pick up the card and it said that she was the executive director of Church of God of Christ and she was the owner of Kojic Publishing. And she wanted me to give her a call. She made me do a virtual business card with Popel. I did the virtual business card and now I'm in the process of getting ready to publish and edit my book and get it out there.
That's awesome. And such a random, like you said, like, you know, no one's there. You're like, why am I here? But I guess that's a reason to not ever ask questions, right? Just
yep.
Go with the flow.
Just go with the flow, yep. Because God worked mysteriously. And, you know, like, I was literally not finna come in. I was finna tell him, no, I'm not coming in. There's a tornado coming. And it's pouring down raining outside. Why would I be coming in for? But I was like, you know what? That's the humility that I gained. I had to be humble. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in. This is his company. This is his business. I'm on the clock. So, you know, I'm going to make money regardless. But, you know, I'm like, all right, forget it. I'm going to go in. So I go in. It was a blessing. See, the blessing came out of the storm. A blessing came out of the storm.
It's interesting. It strikes me that you said a blessing came out of the storm. A blessing came out of COVID. You know, in some ways, like these very tumultuous times can kind of lead to, they could be teachers in some ways, right?
That's why now when I face adversity now, I don't look at it the same that I used to. I look at it differently. I try to break it down now. Like, okay, this what's going on right now, but it's gotta be something behind the smoke. It got to be something behind the smoke that's leading me to this. Because I know that God got trust in me and I got trust in him. So, you know, like, during the COVID-19, like I keep on saying, things when I start having negative things happen to me, it's a blessing finna get ready to come out of it. Because Director Williams had me on building restriction. And I started waxing and buffing these floors, and now he want me to come back to do personal training in his place because we developed a friendship during that time. So it's just always a blessing, and I started trying to pay attention to all of the negative stuff that happened in my life before, and was like, man, I missed the blessing out of it. So now, when negative things happen, I just pay attention. I make sure that I focus on every aspect of this negativity because I know in somewhere in this, it's finna be a blessing somewhere. So I start focusing on it. I'm human. So sometimes I'll be a little distracted and then I get a slap in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, you know, you didn't want to be here, but look what you got for being here. So that's what I started doing now. So now I'm starting to, you know, like when negative stuff started to happen, I just be chill now. I don't panic. Cause I know I'll be watching everything now. I'm like, if it ain't no blessing somewhere in here, then I know to move on. But right now I'm focused because I know something finna come out of this. So that's how I am now.
Yeah, there's a lesson, there's a teaching moment in everything.
Yep.
So would that kind of be, you know, your message to somebody that's like trying to go through what you went through, or someone that's even in the streets right now doing something they shouldn't be doing? Like, what would that be your message? Is like, don't look at everything that's negative happen necessarily negative. Maybe use that to build something positive.
Yeah.
What would be your message?
My message would be that what you put in is what you get out. Like, just because there's a storm in your life, or just because you restricted from doing certain things, don't mean you can't be great. It don't mean you can't be great. It's a storm in your life, then you take that time to perfect a shelter for yourself. If you restricted from moving somewhere, then you sit down and you perfect your mind. You gotta utilize all the negative stuff that's happening in your life. Cause everything, you can't ask God, you can't say, thank you God during the good times and not thank him during your bad times too. He won't take you serious. So during my good times and during my bad times, I thank God for both. Because I know that God won't put too much on you that you can't bear. So just know that, hey man, while I'm going through this right here, I'ma accept it. I accept all this. I make sure that I bring everything in. Like even when it's negative stuff, I accept it. I accept it because I know that I'm finna learn something out of this. This finna be something that I learn. Something that I might not never do again, or something that I might need to keep on doing just in case to improve myself. So only thing the message is, man, just because you got a storm in your life, don't mean that your world is crashing down on you. It don't mean that your life is ended. It only means that you need to work harder to build a shelter to protect yourself from the rain. That's all it means, bro. Or young lady or young man. Just take your time in life. And the storm gonna eventually rain, it's gonna be the sun again. And when the sun come out, you're gonna be thankful for the sun. You're gonna be thankful that you can walk around and, you know, look good and feel good during the sun times when sun out. But when the skies is gray and the rain is falling in the mud, if you pray for rain, you gotta deal with the mud too. And that's my message to you.